This is Empire of Evil, and you're listening to
Metal Hanger on Mosaic FM. All hail.
The story of the band. Well, the story of the band began when Mantas was doing the drill project, and he had some problems with his drummer, and I'll cut the story short, he can expand on it. Antton got involved playing drums for Mantas for drill, and they did a show, they did an old Venom song, and then people thought, and Mantas sang it, black metal, very well actually, and then they thought, wow, that was really cool. They knew I wasn't doing anything, so the idea came up was like, I wonder if Tony might want to do something, this could be pretty cool. So then after a while Jeff contacted me, and we've always had an association. We go back till the beginning of time, you know. We met just after he killed his first Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I
thought it was a pony.
Yeah, it was a pony. Yeah, and I was making a knife out of a stone, and he passed, and we became friends. But we always there's just some sort of synergy between us, and so whenever he's wanted to do anything musical for me, perfect. So when he called, he just pitched the whole thing, and I was, if you're doing it, then I'm in. And that was it. We sort of started this whole thing happening. And I had a name change at one point because we had a problem with it when we were doing the Venom thing, because people liked what we were doing, but they had a problem, you know, separating the two Venoms, if you like, you know, the Cronos Venom and the classic lineup, and what we were doing, although they liked what we were doing. You know, it was a bit more technical, I guess, a bit cleaner. So they thought, well, we should have just changed your name, and then that would have been cool. So this was an opportunity to do exactly that, carry on where we left off from Primeval, do what we want to do, and have a new name. But we pitched it out to the band, to the fans themselves, to pick what we should be called, and they all went, you should be called Primeval. And so we took that name, but then there was a couple of bands before who'd been called that, and there was a New York hardcore band or thrash band who I'd been aware of, but they weren't functioning, and then they decided they wanted to come back to life and sent us cease and desist orders and said, you can't use the name because it's our name. And so we just went, fuck it. So I just sat down with a bit of paper and played with the letters of Primeval, and they, without changing too much, because Jeff had done the artwork, I got Empire of Evil, so that's what we went with, you know. And now people hate it and like it, and some people don't like it, but basically we don't give a fuck because we like it, and that's it. And that's how we ended up being here. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
I didn't miss anything out. Didn't miss anything out. That was perfect. Sometimes I miss stuff out.
What I will say is that when we put it together, and I started writing some tracks for it, the very, very first song that I wrote for this band became Hail to the Holy, which was the title track. So that was the first song that was written, and that was the sort of the direction that was sort of headed in from there, without being, you know, probably get into this later on, but without being what I would say is genre specific. We didn't, you know, because obviously, you know, I'm the founder of Venom, and, you know, I think maybe a lot of people expected like a black metal type of project, you know, but I don't want to be stuck in a box, you know. So we decided that this band is going to have the freedom to do whatever they want musically, whether it's a classic metal track like Metal Messiah, if it's something which has got more of a groove like All Hail, or even like a big blues track like we did with Devil. you know, and then we've got the thrash stuff with, you know, Hellspawn.
Doom with it, Doom
stuff with it. You know, it's at the end of the day, I'm a guitarist, I'm a musician, and I write what I want to write. I don't sit down and think I've got to do this particular kind of song or this particular kind of song. Whatever happens, happens. And if it fits the band, then that's great.
And I think that's it. I think with you know, Venom is Venom, and Venom has to be Venom. And that's great. You know, it's the name and the whole idea of Venom. You know, so that has to be like that. But you know, Jeff, I've done all sorts of different projects and did movies and just anything creative. I didn't care. It was just as long as I was doing something creative and musically the same. And the same thing with Jeff. You know, he did the Scooter tours, guest guitarist, and people were like, "Fucking hell, it's techno band. What are you doing?" But you know, you look at that footage and the guy's being flown to Mongolia on a Learjet, you know, being treated like a king, and he gets to go on stage with that sort of stage show and play wicked solos to these people. It's like, that's what you want. At the end of the day, you're a musician. And you know, he worked with kids doing rock school and stuff, and encouraging kids to, you know, have a love for rock music and you know, create bands. You know, drill was much more, you know, modern in its feel. Like Mantas Zero Tolerance had a much more modern feel, modern production, and of course there's the Venom heritage. So when we got to it, you know, when we did the first release was Creatures of the Black, and the reason we did that was because we wanted people, you know, to be aware of the band, but also we picked songs that made us as kids stand with a tennis racket looking in a mirror going, oh my god, I'm on stage at Donington or something, which band am I in? And for him it was Judas Priest, and for me it was Motorhead, you know, and Kiss, of course. So we thought, wow, we should pick the tracks that when we hear them, even now being 50-year-old men, when we hear them, still makes our heart jump and go, wow, what a great song. So that's what we did. So that's why we did Creatures of the Black, as a tribute to why we do music. And they're very different songs, because the bands are different. But it also hopefully gave people a signal as to what M-Pire was going to be. It was just going to be a metal band. And if we do something thrashy or black metal-y or blast beats or doomy, then we will. If it's rock and roll, it'll be rock and roll, like Snake Pit, you know. So it's, and people go, oh, they like certain aspects of the band, maybe not like it all, but some people got what we were doing and just went, wow. And you know, and that's a key point. The 4 bands we chose for Creature of the Black, Judas Priest are nothing like AC/DC. But both great bands to listen to with great music. AC/DC and Judas Priest are nothing like Kiss, but what a great band with great songs and a great stage show. And those 3 bands are absolutely nothing like Motorhead, but another great band with its own rock and roll feel. Now, when you look at the bands these days, you know, they're all genres, but there's like 1,000 bands in that genre and 1,000 bands in that genre, and sometimes it's very difficult to pick ones out. And we just thought, what makes Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, you know, is that they're different, they're just their own thing, and that's what we wanted to do with M-Pire. You know, make it just a great metal band. Well, I'll let Jeff say how we found him, but you know, the idea with the 3 of us with Antton was a cool idea, but it became evident pretty quickly that I was fighting against the need for him to be another Venom, you know, and he was pushing quite hard on that. You know, to be honest, he was, you know, he wanted us to challenge the whole Venom thing. The first couple of shows we were offered were basically Venom fans offering us the shows, which was cool. We were going to do it, but we didn't have our own material. Jeff had composed a couple of tracks we were working on, but if we were going to do a live show, we were going to have to rely very heavily on Venom material. You know, and we're more than capable of playing that, and the tracks are great tracks. You know, we have them in the set now, but we have them in the set now because, not because we're saluting another band, or because we're challenging their version against all. It's not. It's like they're great songs to play, so that's why we're playing them. And our set's built by the fans. We said straight away, if we played for you, what songs would you like us to play? And they picked the songs, and we went, okay, well, we'll do this one and this one and this one. So, you know, it's about that communication. So that's why they're in the set, not because we go, we play this better or any of that, just because the fans want to hear it, and they're great songs to play live, so we do them. But there was a big push, and it became quite problematic after we recorded. Antton wasn't quite happy with the way we were having to record, but logistically it was the only way we could do it. Jeff was handling all production and engineering and everything else by himself. You know, I was like 300 miles away, so I couldn't get there. Antton had a job and he was away, so we were having to send files. So he had a heavy workload, and we couldn't really help too much. And Antton just didn't like the whole way that was working, so he was a bit unhappy with that. When the tracks finally got delivered, he wasn't that key. He didn't really like the way they sounded. We did, so we had to then, because I was in a case where Jeff wasn't quite sure if it was if they were finished, because his ears, he was like, I don't trust my ears anymore. I thought they sounded great. Antton didn't like them, so I went to the label and to our manager and said, well, look, you know, there's the tracks. You tell me if you think they sound good, if you think they sound shit, and we'll go from there. And they went, they sound great. And I thought, brilliant, because I think they sound great. He thinks they sound okay, which meant that Antton was the odd man out. We didn't want him to be, because he's a great drummer, and we were working really well together. But it was another thing that was a problem. Then we got shows, booked 3 weeks of shows in the US. It would cover both of his son's birthdays if he went. It was over the Easter break, you know, and he just didn't want to do that sort of work. You know, it was a long time to be away. Neither did we. We were, you know, again, the age we are, it was in the back of a van, a show every single night for 21 dates. We started in Seattle, we went all the way to Laredo, Texas, all the way up to Quebec, all the way back down to New York, and then got on a plane and came home. So for us, it was a test. We knew that. It was like, if we could do this, then we're a band. And so we were prepared to do it, but in the end, he wasn't prepared to do it. So we had to look for something else. And we knew that was going to happen at some point. It looked like it was going to happen, so that's when I said to Jeff, you know, maybe we should just, as a safeguard, because we're booking this tour, maybe look around and see if there's someone, if we can get someone. If Antton says he's not going,
and they still haven't found anyone.
We still haven't found anyone. I'm using my sister here for now, but once she's not into it. But I'll pass it over to Mantas, because then he discovered tracks.
Well, what happened was I was stage managing a show at the O2 Academy in Newcastle City Centre, and it was a show for like tribute bands. I think there was an Iron Maiden tribute band, or it was an AC/DC or something. There was a Black Sabbath one called Sabbatica, and I'd never met this guy before. But then there's a tale behind that as well. Anyway, I've never met the guy before, and I remember I was just standing outside having a cigarette, and Jackson came over and, you know, introduced himself, so we chatted, and I think at the end of the night he just said, you know, if you ever need a drummer, let me know. So months and months later, had no contact with him, never seen him again. We were doing another show at the same venue, and the Sabbath band were on again. So this was getting close to the point where it was coming up to the American tour. So I had said to Tony, look, you know, there is a guy in the northeast, and I'm going to have a word with him. So I said to Jackson, you know, are you interested in the project? And the last time I spoke to him, he said, you know, if you ever need a drummer. And that's all I said. I didn't mention what it was, and, you know, he had no idea there was a tour or anything like that. Are you interested in the project? Yes. Okay, give me your phone number, I'll let you know. So on that night, I was side stage, and I took a little bit of footage, sent it to Tony. Tony went, let's do it. So before the American tour, Tony came up for rehearsals. We had one day where we ran through the songs. We had a second day where we played the set once, and a week later we went to America and played 21 shows.
That was it, yeah.
Tonight, you filmed Welcome to Hell. We've never ever played that song before. He sat and learned it.
I had my iPhone and I went, that's it, have a listen to that. And he was like, okay, right.
In America, there was one show, well there was more than one show, where the fans just wouldn't let us leave the stage.
And we didn't have any moments
We didn't have anything else to play, and it was like, sorry guys, we've got to go. No, play one more.
I said to one guy, sure, just on that. I said to one guy, sure. I said, no. I said, don't worry, we'll be back. He went, no, you won't come back here. Get back on there. I was like, shit.
So I turned round to Jackson and I went, we'll do In League with Satan.
And I was like, what?
Was like,
what the fuck's that?
How does that go? I've never heard that song
heard the song before in his life. So I looked at him and I went,
just go dun.
That's
what,
it.
all the way through?
Yes.
Go! I was like, oh, wait,
and that was it, and that was the first time we played In League. He'd never heard the song, so I just said, keep the basic beat, just do it all the way through, and I'll keep turning around and cueing it. And that's the way we did it. It was a complete jam, but it worked. The fans sang along with it.
Didn't they? Yeah.
Before we went to Japan, because of the logistics, we had 3 shows in Japan. We did that, what, a week and a half ago? And the last time we were together in the same room playing was June.
Muscle Rock,
yeah, in June. So we had no rehearsals at all for Japan, and we just went there and played. That's the good thing about this band. But the other thing is, when we say about the Antton scenario, there's a friend of mine from Germany who I work with called Kalle. He's a producer, and we're working on this project at the moment as well. And he came to England just to visit a few months ago. So we hooked up with one of the guitarists. Kalle used to be in drill with me. We hooked up with the other guitarist, Andy, and we went out for a meal. And at that point, Andy said, you know, because Jackson is now an Empire, Andy was going to approach me when we lost the drummer in Germany, because we had a German drummer. Before I got Antton in, he was going to suggest Jackson, so Jackson would have come into drill. But it just seems, I'm a big believer in fate and destiny and everything being planned out. And I just think, you know, everything happens for a reason. And this has been the best reason anything's ever happened for the band-wise. You know, that he didn't get the job in drill, and then years later, you know, the whole Antton thing happened because I got an email from him saying he had left Venom. So I hadn't spoke to the guy for years, you know, and I just called him up, and you know, he came around to my house and we talked for a while, and it was all the same reasons that I left, you know, so we both had the same problems, you know, and when he did the drill thing, when he filled in, because what actually happened was the drummer in Germany, he was playing with a band called Kajahorn, and they were doing the With Full Force Festival, I think it was. It was one of the big German festivals. But as he was walking up the ramp to go on, the intro tape was running, he slipped and fell and broke his arm. So the show was cancelled. Obviously we had a show to do, he couldn't come to England. So Antton filled in, but the point being, again when I spoke to Andy, the other guitarist, I said that the intention was never to have Antton in drill. You know, it was there, it was because we had the commitment to this one show, but then it was Andy and the singer from drill who said, you know, we should all be based in the same area. So I was sort of a little bit railroaded into that decision, but it was never the intention to have him in full time. But it happened, and because of that, this has happened. You know, so like you say,
I never
everything
knew
happens
that.
for a reason.
I never knew you at that point, did I?
No, we didn't know each other at all at that point.
I'd seen drill a
You
few
know.
times, and I did actually say to a lot of people that I would love to play with that band, you know. But yeah, it's such an honour to play with these guys, like, you know, just let me get that out, you know. So cool.
So
But,
Oh, fucking stop it, man!
but yeah, I just remember Jeff buying the kit when he approached us, you know, and he was just filming us, and he was just going, "Go on, son, go for it," you know. I was like, okay, what's going on? I had no idea what was going to happen, you know. So yeah,
But I mean, there's a lot, you know, there's a lot of sort of rumour that this was all planned and all this, and it's absolute bullshit.
Yeah,
How it was planned. Everything just fell into place because of circumstance. You know, one thing led to another, which led to another, and like I say, I believe in that. I believe everything happens for a reason in your life. You know, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes you can come out with something much stronger than you went into it. And you know, we were at a point where we thought, we've got 21 shows in America.
Which we wanted to do.
And we wanted to do. And I remember speaking to Antton on the phone and I said, clear as day, whatever happens, I am going to America and I am going to do these shows. You're either with us or not. And it was as simple as that. Whatever happened, whether it was Jackson who came in to play the drums or it was somebody else that came, I've got people on the end of the phone I can call. Good friend of mine, Martin Skorupka, Marthus, who's in Cradle of Filth. I could have called that guy. Are you available? The guy who played in Drill, Bodo Stricker, both incredible drummers. I could have said, are you available? I got a message from Bo. He said, who's playing drums in Empire? I would love to do that. And by this time, Jackson was already in, you know? But, you know, it's not as if, you know, there isn't a pool of people that I can't call and say, are you available? The first person that I called when the drummer from Drill had the accident was Nick Barker.
Yeah.
You know, who was in Cradle and Testament and Dimmu Borgir. You know, and it was, if he had been available, he was going to step in and do the gig for me. But he wasn't available, he was on tour with another band.
And I think
that's how Antton came into it.
Yeah, and
it wasn't first choice.
Lots of people, because they knew there was something going on, and lots of people were hitting, you know, even me as well, you know, like offering services. But you know, Jackson, I think Jackson had, I don't know, he's a young guy, but he's got an old school's head on him. You know, he's a real musician. And you know, I don't know many bands. We played Temples of Ice for the first time. We never played that song after we wrote it and recorded it ever live. You know, nothing that we played from Temples or Wastelands, and most of the stuff we didn't play. We never played Parasite live because it has triplets on the double basses, and Abaddon couldn't play them. So that's why we never played it. He would pick songs that would give him a break, give him a rest. Wasn't too technical. So we were always being restricted in what we did live, which became frustrating in the end, and was why we called a stop to it. It was like, this is like, you know, Venom is not a club band. They're not a club band. They're, you know, they're a festival band sort of thing. And I'm a club musician, so it's like, I just want to play, and if it's really technical, then brilliant. If it challenges us, the more it challenges us, the better. He's a dynamic guitarist. He'll play a stadium show, he'll play a club, it doesn't make any difference as long as he's playing, and he gets to play, you know, as rich as his style is. And so we felt restricted, and I think that, you know, I could feel we were going to be dragged maybe into a restricted area again, and I didn't want, no, I wanted to get away from that. And that's why Jackson's so good. He plays all modern style, he can play triggers or whatever, all that sort of stuff. But he's got the real feeling of one of those, like, Bill Ward types, or, you know, Ginger Baker or something. He's like mashed in with all of them, and he loves listening to old school and modern stuff, and he has a style that's brilliant to play against. And, you know, re-recording the Hell to the Holy stuff, we've done some re-recordings on there with Jackson, because live they're very different. It's complete. He sees accents where we didn't see them, and brings the tracks to life. And so, you know, when it came up, like, maybe we should record some old stuff, we did Crucified, the album, which is 2 new tracks, Demon and Taking It All, and then the rest are all culled from people's favourites from my period with Venom. And I mean, they sound fucking like they've never been played before, or recorded before. and now we do Temples of Ice live, and it's amazing to play it, and it feels so rich doing it, you know. But it starts from him, I think, as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the songs that we've re-recorded for Crucified, I mean, there's 9 songs, and they're taken from Primeval, Temples of Ice and the Wastelands. And I mean, those songs now, they're what, 22-year-old?
Yeah.
You know, so this guy had just been born when those songs were written. But now, listening to those songs now,
The Empire,
the way they've been produced, you know, people who haven't heard these songs before, they fit straight into the Empire catalogue.
They
sound great. I'm so pleased with them.
Yeah.
And they sound like brand new songs. And you know, when Tony came to my house to do the vocals, because everything was recorded in my house, apart from the drums, we went into the studio in Newcastle. You know, he was singing lyrics, and I was like, I've never heard those lyrics before. You know, because, you know, listening back, I know it was 22 years ago, but listening back to it, I mean, the mixing and the production just doesn't do the songs justice.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you know, there's a lot of, you know, structurally the songs are exactly the same as what they were from those chosen albums, but there's a lot of fresh ideas in the songs as well. You know, the stuff, you know, from 22 years ago, because of the guitars, the way they were mixed back then, I had nothing to do with it. And I was listening to some of the riffs thinking, I can't even hear what I'm doing there, you know. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff where I've just thought, right, it's in the key of A, for example, I'll put something new there. And Tony's rewrote lyrics, you know, for like a track called Need to Kill. I mean, there's some new lyrics in there, you know. He's like, well, I never really liked those lyrics, and I think it was a little bit rushed when we did it, because it was always push, push, push. Time is money in the studio and all that. Well, we had the freedom and the time to do what we wanted. So there was new lyrics written for certain parts. So structurally the songs are the same, but they're a lot fresher. They sound like new songs.
I think, yeah, those selected tracks, because he's done such a great job with the production as well, and because of Mark, you know, his ability, it's like, if you liked a Wolverine, for example, or Black and Other Priests, or Black Legions, or any of those sort, you know, you're going to hear something like it's brand new, but it's the same track. It's like you can't compare the two. And even in hindsight, we loved Hell to the Holy, and I love it. I love the tracks, and we'd really hit it. But when we listened after he finished doing the production on Crucified, and I also was referencing back for the tour schedule and putting together a set CD, it was like, oh my God, I don't know what happened, but it's like we went from there to there. We've like jumped hugely, probably because 21 dates as a band, and then shows into Europe, and then recording, and so, you know, which we hadn't done with Antton as a band. You know, he'd done a bit, I'd done a bit, and we were putting it together like that. And then we did 2 tracks in London, 2 songs, so we never actually got to be a band really. So I think that's probably why there's a huge leap in the quality of the songs and the production as well. But yeah, it's something we're really happy with. So,
yeah, you can hear everything that should have been heard.
It should have,
with the Venom era, you know, with the Demolition Venom. You can, everything's clear. You can actually hear what's going on. You know, I think that's the big difference. And it makes a massive difference, you know.
There's a lot of additions as well. I mean, like Black and Other Priests, you know, I did an orchestral score, and so there's orchestras and choirs in certain parts of it, you know. It sounds huge, you know. It's just an idea, and I sent it to the guys, and I went, say no if you don't like it, but you know, this huge orchestra kicks in, you know, over the centre section. You know, wow.
It's great, and it's probably stuff that if we'd had the type of the way we worked together, if we'd had that luxury back then on all of that material, we probably would have had that, you know, we would have had richer material, but we never had that. So this is an opportunity to revisit stuff that we liked from there and redo, you know. But Zero Tolerance, the Mantas album, some great tracks on there. We might pull across and make them Empire. Why not? I don't want to lose anything. It's like, you know, it's like to record some great music, stick it under your bed, or have some label, chuck it out the window and go, yeah, we distributed it for you, and there's 10 copies lying in the car park. It's like, what the fuck's all that about? You know, so it's like, no, we've got all this music. If we have to revitalise it so we can take it out and play it to everybody, let's do it. And if it all comes under the banner of Empire, brilliant. And you know, we're releasing music back out and there's just too much good material to waste, I think, really. So, you know, we're not going to. Yeah, so that's why we're redoing Rain and Blood and all that stuff. We put everything in, like the lightning, we do all that.
So finally there's no wastelands.
Yeah, yeah. Cursed, we got to do Cursed. It's epic. Yeah.
One more. Two more. One more. Two more. One more. Two more. 1 million more. 2 more. One more. 2 more. Yeah. Yeah. You're too fucking quiet, Milan. Yeah. Yeah.
Other than people saying to me on Facebook when they were when we hadn't announced to everybody, or when Antton had made his departure, and everybody asking if we were going to get Abaddon back in.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
You know, but it was like, well, you know, Abaddon didn't rehearse in the first place, and I don't know how long it's been since he played drums, you know, so I don't know. We certainly wouldn't have got what we've got if we'd done that way. But now I think that, you know, the critique is always, you know, people. Venom released Fallen Angel, and we released Creatures of the Black, you know, and I guess he held that back a bit, the release, because I think he thought we were going to throw an album out, and he knew that we were going to go up against that, but we didn't. We weren't considering that at all, and we released Hell to the Holy later, and both albums, you know, for him and for us, he's doing his thing, and that's great, and you know, there's been no real comparison, you know, even with Mantas in, because they see us as being two separate entities, really, you know. People who like my Venom stuff, the critic was always, you know, that I wasn't Cronos doing classic Venom songs, you know, and that was always the critique, not the new stuff, you know, it can't be Venom because Cronos is not there, whatever, and you know, when you think about it, Venom is bigger than everybody, but he was the one who instigated Venom in the first place, and for me as a huge Venom fan, the three of them together, the chaos that was Venom, which is what I loved, you know, Welcome to Hell, Black Metal, was the three of them. You know, if you take Abaddon out, you got Cronos and Mantas, you still got Venom. If you take Cronos out, you've just got Mantas. Well, it's not really Venom, because you need those two, those two work against each other. You know, so I never, when I went into Venom, I wanted to play those great songs. I wanted us to write stuff that was great. But I never went on, you know, I read loads of things where Cronos going, oh yeah, all my friends said he thought he was me and he was trying to be me. It's like, maybe the other way around, because of Resurrection, there's a lot of rolling of the R's on Resurrection that he never did before. But I did that a lot. So it's like, you know, I don't want to get into a bitch slap about anything, but I never tried to be Cronos. In fact, when we did Bloodlust live on the tours, we dedicated it to him. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, I can't be Cronos in Venom, same way as I can't be fucking Lemmy in Motorhead, and I can't be Geddy Lee in Rush, you know, I can be me in my band, and that's who I am. If you like that, that's great. If you don't like that, that's great. There's shit out there that I love, there's shit out there I don't like. That's just how it goes, you know. But we had conviction when we played the songs live, and that's what it's about. It's about great songs, you know. And if you like that version, fantastic. And if you don't like that version, that's cool, you know. But that doesn't stop people doing great songs. And if this man wrote some great songs, then he's got every right to play it. And you don't need someone on the other side of the fence going, oh, you're just playing that because I'm playing that, you know. It's like, yeah, it's not about that. It's about the music. It's about the music. And so I think we were departed so far from Venom. People expected us to come out with a Venom album, even Venom, and we didn't. We went the other way, and everybody was like, "Oh fuck!" They didn't know what to do at first. So, but we did that so that we could be free of any of that. And then live, we can put in the songs if we want to put them in. You know, like we'll do Welcome to Hell tonight, and you know, Leave Me in Hell and Black Metal, and you know, we can mix it up and have fun with it and let the audience really have a good time. Because what we found is, you know, we're not, you know, again, conjecture and rumour that's been levelled against us from other people associated with us across the board is, you know, we're relying on the Venom lineage. It's like, no, we're not, but we're not running away from it either. it's part of his heritage, and why shouldn't he be proud of it? You know, I was in it for a bit, and we play stuff from my era, but also playing the classics. I was a fan, fucking hell. What fan doesn't want to be on stage and sing a classic song? So for me, it's like, great, you know, so why shouldn't we be able to do that? We can embrace that. And at the end of the day, we do it live because the fans get a kick out of it. They like the stuff that we do with the Empire, but they also like the classics as well. So we give them everything, you know, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair enough, you know.
No, that's it. No, I mean, I don't see any comparisons in it whatsoever. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, from a personal point of view, with Venom, it's just the name that's out there now. That's it. I mean, 2000, I've said this a million times, you know, there's people ask me about it, but in 2005, I had a conversation with Cronos, a telephone conversation, and he asked my permission to use the Venom name. You know, he actually said, "Are you okay with me continuing as Venom?" And at that point in my life, you know, that was the year that my mother passed away, so I was concentrating more on family things than anything else. I didn't give a shit. And I said, yeah. But in the same breath, I also said that the only legitimate Venom that I would ever recognise was one which included Cronos and Mantas. You know? And I mean, he's out there doing it now. And, you know, but if I had said no, then there would have either been, you know, a legal battle, or there just wouldn't be a Venom out there. And from my point of view, you know, the historical fact is I'm the founder member of the band. I'm the founder member of Venom. A lot of that material was written before Cronos joined the band, and I've seen things on the internet where it's basically it's just not true. I mean, you know, the direction and everything of Venom was already set when he joined the band. He was the last member to join Venom. He came in as a rhythm guitarist. The rhythm guitarist left. The rhythm guitarist was the guy that I founded Venom with, a guy called Dave Rutherford. Then Abaddon came in. With Abaddon came Clive Archer. We had a bass player called Alan Black, I think it was at the time. Or maybe somebody else, I can't remember. But, you know, the rhythm guitarist left. Cronos came in as a rhythm guitarist, then the bass guitarist left, so we took over bass. Everything again just fell into place because we went into the studio recording demos, and I had written Live Like an Angel, Die Like a Devil, and I asked Cronos to sing it. And the idea was that the singer was going to go off stage, because we always had this theatrical thing that we wanted to do. So the singer, Clive Archer, was going to go off stage and do this costume change and come back on for the track Schizo. You know, do the whole serial killer thing and all this kind of stuff. So that was the sort of concept of it, that was the idea. So he was going to go off stage, so Cronos was going to sing this one song while he was off stage. He would come back on, and then it was back to the four of us. You know, we did gigs as a four-piece. You know, it was simple as that. But like I say, you know, in 2005, if I had said no, then I suppose it would have denied people another Venom out there. You know, it's the same. Let's put it this way: I'm a huge Kiss fan, as well as Judas Priest. I'm a huge Kiss fan. For me, at the moment, it's not really Kiss, but it is because the two main guys are still there. Ace Frehley and Peter Criss couldn't go out in there and call themselves Kiss with another two guys singing, because the thing is, the engine, the fuel, the engine, the creative force of Kiss is still there, and that's Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. They're the guys who run that show. Always have been, always will be. Now, if they weren't there, you don't have a legitimate Kiss. It's as simple as that. You know, same as when Rob Halford left Judas Priest. Tim Owens, great vocalist. You know, sounds like Halford. Still wasn't Priest. I went to see Priest when KK left. KK is my big hero, and I just sat and watched it. And Priest have been my favourite band forever. But that'll be the last time I ever go to see Priest. It's sad because, but you know, it just wasn't Priest. Rob Halford sang great, Glenn Tipton played great, Scott Travers played great, Ian Hill did what Ian Hill always does, but as I was looking at stage left, there was a gap.
I think
You
that's
know,
it.
there was just something missing.
It's hard because when that's your thing, when we grew up with all of that stuff, you don't want it to change. You don't want it to change. You know, we played the show last night in Torino, and talking to people after the show, they were going, "Fuck, it was like I was 16 again." I went, "Same for me. I felt like I was 16 again." The last time we were here, especially in Trim, was 1985. Fucking hell. You know, so it's about that. It's about that connection, I think. And you know, so it's difficult to not see him there. You know, classic Motorhead for me was Filthy, Eddie, and you know, and still Mickey's a brilliant. Motorhead sound fucking fantastic. I went to see them with Anthrax at Brixton just a couple of weeks ago. Bludgeoning, great, but it's Phil Campbell and Mickey, and I wish it was Fast Eddie Clark and Filthy, but it can't be, can it? You know, it could in 1980, but it can't now, and those guys are brilliant, so you have to give in to that in a way. What do the songs sound like, you know, and have you got an element? And I'm a bit different for Jeff and that, is I think there needs to be a Venom. The world needs Venom. It needs Venom, you know, we've got all the superbly technical black metal bands, we've got the thrash element, we've got the Metallicas, the Big Four, we've got all of that, we've got the Motorhead's Rock and Roll Steamroller, we've got AC/DC with their arena shows, we've got all of that, but we need a Venom, we need that chaos, that ugliness that Venom is, you know. He's not really playing that in time, and that's not quite there, and those actually, fucking Venom was never about that. You know, this is the man that ran on it at their first show, big Hammersmith audience show, and went, if you want to listen to Venom, go home and listen to your records, because tonight you're going to get 1.5 hours of pure fucking mayhem. Now, if that doesn't tell you, we don't give a fuck if we're in time, we're Venom, you know, and everybody went, come on, you know, and I remember being, back doors of this fucking stage, and when Countess went off, Countess Bathory, and they set the fucking flames off at the back of the auditorium, you could feel the heat. And if you watch that show from 1984, it's like packed to the front of the stage in Hammersmith, and when they go off, the whole audience bends back like that and comes back. You know, it's that, the cacophony that was Venom, you know, the richness in that. And I think when there's been, and my time included, when Calm Before the Storm, when you try to smooth it out and make it a band, we're a rock and roll band, it's like, nobody wants Venom to be a rock and roll band. People want Venom to, you know, jump out at them, tear their face off, spit in their eye. They're going to kick the industry up the arse and go, fuck you. You know, that's what people want from Venom. So, you know, if Conrad's out there, you know, he's still Cronos, and he's still Cronos on stage, you know, for me that carries it, you know, that carries it. And as long as you're listening and it's still got that Venom ugliness, then it's beautiful. And all hail, you know. I hope there's always a Venom in some sort of way. Is it classic? Well, then that's to the individual, you know. Again, like I said with the Motorhead analogy or the Judas Priest thing, you know. But for us, it's that moment in time we want. That would be perfect, you know. A reunion, that would be perfect, for example, you know. But as long as it's still there, and we need that, I think. Well, the thing is, we tried to. It's been quite difficult for us because, you know, we're old guys with a heritage, but we're a new band. So, you know, that worked on distribution, people getting to know us. So it's been a bit of a weird time for us. We chose to go to America because we could get dates in America, whereas in Europe we were finding a hard time looking for dates. So we went to America and did that with the idea of coming back into Europe. But then we had an agent and a manager, and we were switching between people, and so we ended up with 3 months of not doing too much. We did one show in Italy and one in Sweden, And then the offer for Japan came in, but at that point we thought maybe we should look to writing some new material. Crucified idea came up, so we focused on that. Jeff was heavily into the production of it, so we just waited till Japan happened, and then we had a couple of Italian shows before Christmas, so we thought we'd come and do them. But ideally next year, what we'd love to do, we'd love to start in France, go through Holland, Belgium, Sweden, Finland, Germany, everywhere. End up in Greece, you know. We'd love to do that, but it doesn't look like it's so easy at the minute, you know, for us happening to get the bookings and stuff like that. I think we need to do a bit more work to convince people of who we are. So we're probably going to go to South America first and back to America, maybe Japan again at the end of the year, and hopefully get into France and Germany, you know, in that middle period around the summer and stuff. I think festival-wise, I don't see a load of stuff coming in for us right now, because there's a whole corporate, you know, organisation, and we're not corporate. We're not part of that corporate thing, and we're inclined to go. You know, if someone goes like, well, if you do X, Y, Z, we'll give you this, and we'll go, why don't we just do that? And they go, no, you say yes to this, and then we'll do this, and we go, fuck off then. And you can't tell them to fuck off, because they're like, we can't say that. Do you know who we are again? We can't give a fuck. We'll carry on and do that. So, you know, while we've got that, you know, we'll see when someone approaches us for shows, we go, yep, and we see if we can make it work. And they go, you know, you could be doing this to this amount of people, but you're going to go and do that. It's like, because that's important. You know, it doesn't matter. We could do a Wacken. And they go like, oh, you know, you should be really honoured to do Wacken and be there. You know, because Wacken's allowed you, the Wacken Foundation have allowed you to play fucking stage X in a tent just after the mud wrestling and before they show the show sheep. And it's like, oh, we should be thankful for that, yeah. And you know, there's bands who would pay us to come on there. Really? I'm not bothered, you know, I'm not bothered. Because all those people travel to see Wacken because they want it for a weekend. It's a community thing, and that's brilliant. But if we have to spend 18 months playing to all of those people in their hometowns at 30 people a time, then we'll do that then. We'll do that. We'll take us to them. So it's like, it's not about you, it's not about your foundation, it's not about what godlike you are, it's about them, and it's about us, and it's about the music. And you know, you're going to go, you want us to go there, not ask for any money, play whatever you decide to give us, and yet you're going to charge him fucking 60, 130, 200 euros for a fucking weekend where he gets a shitty tent, he gets your shit burgers and shit in a hole in the ground, and there's fucking 4 million bands going on everywhere, and you want him to stick his hand in his pocket in today's economy, spend another 150 euros on fucking t-shirts. It's like, you know, why don't we just drive in a van to his house, unload our gear in his back garden, give him one of our t-shirts, play a gig, and you got 10 euros, how was that? I'm fucking fantastic, see you next year. Do you know what I mean? Because it cuts out that corporate thing. You know, you do need it, but, you know, to a degree, but it has to be fair. And at the end of the day, ripping fans off who, you know, haven't got that type of money and are travelling fucking, you know, miles and miles it's costing them to travel to see shows. The economy in the country might be shit, you know. It's like torrenting, you know. I had a guy going, you know, I got to tell you, I had to torrent your album because it wasn't available, you know, and I couldn't get my hands on it. I said, you know, if you torrent all of the music and you don't pay for it, eventually the bands would be able to come and play it because they're not making any money, so they can't pay for any production. So, you know, if nobody's making any money, how can they tour? You know, they can't support themselves. So just torrenting because you want it for free is probably, on the greater scheme of things, going to disrupt the industry. However, I don't give a fuck if you can't get the album. I don't want you having to pay 40 euros for some shitty import from a country that's next door to you. Torrent it then. Torrent it so it's fair, you know. It needs to be fair, and what we're trying to do is get ourselves in a position where we can offer as much material as fair as we can, and then come and play it for you as well, you know.
I think the American tour did a lot for us,
yeah.
in as much as it put us on the ground with the fans. And I mean,
and we took the album with us. We're
doing all the sort of big Venom shows that I've done, and like all the other stuff. You know, there was never the opportunity there to really meet the fans after shows. And I mean, I'm quite shy after shows. I'm quite quiet anyway. I like I've always said my party is on stage, you know, and I'll have the biggest party in the world with fucking 89,000 people in front of me. You know, when we did Dynamo, that was a fucking huge party for me. But after that, you know, for me it's like private time. But doing the American thing, we went out there and we were playing the small clubs, and then afterwards it was so intimate, you know, you got to talk to the fans, you got to sign everything and that. Same in Japan, it was absolutely incredible, and we thought, you know what, this is the way to do it. You know, to just get on the ground and go old school and get out there, get in the van and go around the clubs. It doesn't matter if there's 50 or 100 or whatever people there, because if you're doing a good enough job, the next time you come round to that club, they might have moved it to a bigger club, and it's the way bands have always done it. It's been proven over years and years and years. You go round and round and round and round. It's something that Venom never had to do, you know. We never had to do that groundwork because, you know, the success of Venom was from here to there instantly. There was no sort of in the van, do the gig, right, off to the next one. When are we eating? I don't know. When are we going to get a shower? I don't know. It was none of that. There was none of that whatsoever. You know, instant there, from nothing to bang, we were playing massive shows. First show we played, Pottering in Belgium. You know, we went from a church hall in West End of Newcastle. The following weekend, we were in a sports hall in Belgium in front of 3,000 people. It was like, what the fuck is going on? You know, we hadn't a clue. You know, we didn't know, you know, that all of Europe had just went Venom crazy. You know, true story, I was standing there when everything was getting set up, just watching this rig going up and watching the back line and stuff like that. And one of the crew, Belgian crew, came past singing "Swear in Time, We Were Born" and all that. And I looked at this guy thinking, how the fuck does he know that? I had no idea. Yeah. You know, I had no idea. I don't even think Neat Records had any idea what was going on. And then when we did the 7 Days of Hell tour, walking into places like Teatro Tenda and Espace Balade, it was like, holy shit, how big's this? You know, so we never had to do that groundwork. For me, Venom was right place, right time. You know, we did something, whatever it was, don't ask me. I really don't know. We went in the studio as young guys and just did what we did naturally. There was no, yes, we wanted the image and we wanted to be faster and heavier and dirtier and all this kind of stuff. We didn't know how to do it. We just did what came naturally. You know, wrote some songs. Everybody digs the songs. Great. And then all of a sudden, bang, we're playing arenas, essentially. You know, we're going all over the place. But nowadays, that doesn't happen. Very rarely does it happen to a band. You know, so even though we've got that heritage where we've went out and done that kind of thing, and yeah, I mean, I've played Wacken, I've headlined Wacken with Venom, and I loved it. I love the big shows. I'll not deny it. I love turning up to a festival, hearing the roar of the crowd, you know, the lights go down and boom, you're on stage. I love being the headline act, it's great. But I also love what we're going to do tonight. You know, it's small, it's intimate. For fuck's sake, in Japan, we sat there with acoustic guitars in front of about 40 people in a record store, you know, expecting them to ask questions.
That was what it was, a question.
We thought it was a question and answer and then sign albums, and we were going to play a couple of things, you know. No. The Japanese interpreter that we had says, you know, the Japanese people are so reserved and they're so polite, they won't want to ask you any questions.
Why don't you
know?
just play another song?
Just play some more songs, you know. So we ended up taking requests.
Yeah, they're just going,
fucking song, you know, songs we've never played, you know. I was like, he looked at me and went, can you remember Sons of Satan? And I went, give it a fucking go, like, you know?
Here's a song for you. It was great.
And it was great fun, you know, but it was intimate, and after it, you know, yeah, who the fuck's ever played Venom songs acoustically, you know? And I thought, if anybody's got the right to, it's us anyway, so... But afterwards, they absolutely loved it.
They loved it. It was something that
whether
they
that's
never thought,
whether that's a Japanese thing, because I love that country to pieces. I absolutely love it. But the culture is so different everywhere you go, you know. But I mean, I've been there twice now, and I mean that's probably small in comparison to some people who've been there, you know, 5, 6, 7 times or whatever. and people who live there, you know, the English people who live there, or whatever, you know, foreign nationals who live there. But I just absolutely love the place, and to get that reaction, and then after the shows, we found we were getting the same reaction as we got in America, whereas we were finished, and these two motherfuckers, right, because they were just doing a fucking runner after the show. They got
because
it.
After you played, you had to work your way through the crowd, and everybody go Mantas. So as soon as they went Mantas, me and him would fuck off down the other side.
He's that way. Mantas is that way.
Yeah.
So it was one night in
Mantas.
Where was it? Was it Brooklyn?
Yeah, Brooklyn. Yeah.
It took me an hour to get from the stage to the
When he
dressing
came
room.
back,
These guys were
his
already.
guitar still sweating. We were all there with a fag on. You bastards! You bastards!
But it was great because
Yeah.
that was something I hadn't done in the past. And I remember in Laredo, you know, we were sort of essentially special guests to Onslaught. And I don't know where these two were, but I just went outside for a cigarette after we played, and half the fucking audience came out with
Yeah, they
us.
all just followed out, didn't they?
We just stood and chatted for ages, and then all of a sudden we heard the last song being played. So we'd been out there for about an hour and 20 minutes, just me and some, you know.
There was a guy in Portland,
fans
remember?
and just-
A guy in Portland came out and went, oh, he's having a cigarette. We went, yeah. He didn't realise it was us. I went, do you want one? And he was like, yeah. So he had a cigarette, and then he thought he was going, fucking hell, it's you two. And we went, yeah. And he just stood there for the whole time out there going, I can't believe I'm having a cigarette at a time. It was just us three. You know, it was great. We took photos and everything, but it was that thing. People were going like, holy shit, it's yous. And we're going, yeah. And then they just sit down with us. Like we got in a lift in Japan, and there was me and Jeff got up, and we got, let's go and have a coffee. And the lift doors open, we got in the lift, there was this little Japanese fan there, and we went, you alright? She was like, hello. And we went, we said, we're going for coffee, do you want to come? She was like, can I? Like, yeah. So we all went and had coffee, and it's that reality thing, you know. If you go into a festival, you go to do the festival, you're back in the car and you're gone. You might do a signing or something, you know, but it's fleeting, and so we thought it was really important this time. If the record company hasn't got distro on the ground, or they just be part of the fans, you know. And we might not always be able to do this. Depends on what we're doing, but you know that's who we are. So that's as generous as we want it to be.
I think even if it gets, and it will, because we're determined, you know. So even if it gets to the stage, or no, not even if, even when it gets to the stage that we're playing bigger venues in front of, I don't know, 2,000-3,000 people. I think we've agreed now that, you know, at the end of the show we'll go backstage. Give us 20 minutes just to get towel and ready and stuff like that, and then we'll go back out, because you know bands are doing this meet and greet thing now, and they're
charging money for it.
They're charging money for it.
What's that
It's
about?
like, fuck off.
It's like your turn. You go like that. All right, fuck off. Right,
Yeah,
your turn.
exactly.
Fuck off. And you go, right, that costs you €30. What for a photograph for you? Fuck off.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
You know, so
That's
we've
totally
already
the
said,
fans, that.
you know, when we get to the stage of doing these shows, then, you know, after it, for another 20-30 minutes, whoever is there and whoever has waited, first come, first served, but we'll sit there behind a desk and sign wherever you've got. You know, we'll give the fans another 30 minutes, there you go, we'll meet them, we'll have the photographs.
Chats,
and
whatever you want, chat to your lads.
And we won't charge you fucking €30 for it, you know, because you've already came there. And
You've already paid to see it.
I'm going to say this again, I say it in every fucking interview, and that is that the fans are the most important part of the music industry. The fans are the fuel of the engine. If you don't put gas in your car, it doesn't go. If there's no fans in the music industry, it doesn't work. You know, if there's no fans out there, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this interview. If there's no fans out there, you wouldn't be sitting there with this camera doing this interview with us, right? If there's no fans out there, there's none of that, right? There's no magazines, there's no MTV, there's no video, there's nothing. If every person in the world all of a sudden decided, I'm never buying another CD, I'm never listening to music again, the music industry, dead. Simple as that. The fans are the people who put us where we are. And even tonight, after sound check, so many people coming up, oh, it's an honour to have you here. No, it's not an honour for you to have me here. It's an honour for me to be here,
You
to
to
play in front
yeah.
of, because we are the privileged ones. not the fans. It's not the fans who are privileged to have us playing in their little club. We are privileged to be there, to have the opportunity to go on stage and present our music to these people.
Have them want to hear it. Have them want to hear it.
Because like I say, without them, we don't exist. You know, I've done this what for 31, 32 years now. I've been lucky that I've been able to continue the career all the way through. And, you know, that is beyond thank you. Absolutely beyond it. You know, you cannot express enough thanks to people, you know. I mean, the amount of people that I've met in Europe and since we've been doing this on the ground thing, you know, who've come up to me and you know, I'll just take myself in particular on this one because, you know, people come along and say, without you there'd be no extreme music. It's just like, you know, you started black metal, you started flat, you started this, you know, and fuck off. And it's like, I just did what I was doing. So thank you for liking it. Thank you for digging it. You know, you went out and I didn't go out there and buy my own vinyl. You know, I didn't go out there and buy my own t-shirts. You went out there and you supported the band. You know, whether or not we seen the money that came in from that, because, you know, we got ripped in the 80s. But whether or not that happened, we still had that opportunity to set foot on some of the biggest stages in the world and do it. And that is a fucking dream for some musicians. Some musicians who probably, and I know some, far better fucking guitarists than what I am, they'll never have the opportunity to do this. You know? I've been very, very lucky that I've created something different. And it's evolved. You know, black metal has evolved all the way through to what, you know, the symphonic and what so many different versions of it now. So far away from what Welcome to Hell is, you know. But it's the fans, it's the people who, you know, I hate to use this word, but the ordinary people who go to the CD shop, or they go and they buy a t-shirt, they buy a concert ticket, whatever. And I know that because I'm still the same.
Yeah.
You know, I'll still go and buy a concert ticket, I'll still go and buy a CD, buy a t-shirt. You know, so it's essentially I'm still a music fan. I'll always be a music fan.
I'll try to get in for free and try to share for free. If I can't, I'll have to buy it for you. You've got to try it, haven't you?
But I mean, I think that's it. I mean, music's in here. You know, I always say, you know, music comes from here and it comes from there. You know, as soon as you start fucking thinking about it, don't get all technical on my arse, you know, I'm not fucking interested in how many fucking arpeggios you can play. I don't give a fuck. You know, does it, when I put the needle into the groove, does it make me go, oh, fucking yeah. That's what it's all about.
Does it move your soul?
Yeah, does it move you, you know?
And that's it, this is, by doing this, it's a way of humbly giving back for all of that. Humbly get an opportunity to go, thank you. You know, when people want to go, thank you for doing what you did, you can go, no, thank you for still being there. And for being moved by that, being inspired by that, and if that inspired you to go out and do something, that's what it's about. Music was inspirational for us. Music is inspirational. You know, good art's inspirational, and to be able to move someone, you know, fantastic. You know, and you know, I've just seen a copy of Welcome to Hell there. You know, there's still people coming up, and that's like their, you know, 1981 was it released in, you know, 1980, 81. I mean, fucking hell, it's a long time for people to still go, that album for me. And there's a guy in Seattle, up in Oregon, or maybe in Washington State, listens to it every day. Goes to me, yeah, I can't start the day unless I listen to it. In 30 years he's been listening to this little fucking album. But for some reason it gives him the strength, because he goes, shit, it rains all the time. Work sucks, you know, the wife left, the kids, it's all a mess, but I put that on and I can face the day again, and that's what great music is. That's inspirational, you know, and you know, that's great to be able to do that. So we've used this as an opportunity to be able to say thank you to everybody, you know. Thank you, yeah.
Yep, so thank you.
Thanks, guy.
Merci beaucoup Empire of Evil pour cette interview. Thank you very much Empire of Evil for this great interview.
Thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure. Bless you.
This is Empire of Evil and you're listening to
Metal Hanger on Mosaic FM. All hail.
Ragazzi, presento i miei amici M-Pire of Evil, un applauso per loro ragazzi. Alla batteria Mr. Jackson, right? Chi vuole pistare questo uomo qua? È una leggenda. Vai Giacomo. Demolition Man. Demolition Man. Alla chitarra. La chitarra chi lo vuole presentare?
Lui è Dio!
He's a God, they say. Mr. Man, un applauso! Ragazzi, questi sono la storia, vi lascio a loro. Miei amici, my friends. Hey guys. This is where we're all fucking going anywhere. Leave me in hell! Good night! Mr. Jackson drummer. Mantas, let's guitar. Ciao.